Hey everyone, Bridget here. We are just going to be doing some lifting threads on my beautiful patient today. So as you can see, usually what we'll teach is to do a 3-vector lift and then along the jawline. However, this patient doesn't really need that much of a lift. She just really is doing it more because she doesn't like her nasolabial folds, and then she also just wants the collagen stimulation to be able to kind of prevent those jowls from forming. So we are just going to do one kind of to her nasolabial fold and then another one to her jowl, and we're going to skip the jawline and the marionette. So the first thing that I did was numb topically injected some lidocaine, and I use epi and lidocaine at the site just to help with some bleeding. However, I use normal 2% in this syringe to kind of numb each of my tracks. So what I like to do is to kind of make my pilot hole, and I usually use one of the 18 gauges just to ensure that my thread can easily fit afterwards and so that it doesn't close up as fast on you. So I like to make my tracks. I like to make sure I'm at that subdermal space so that I'm really at that right depth. I don't want to be too into the dermis because then there's a risk for it being too superficial. And you might see some thread visibility, and then it also might be more uncomfortable for the patient. So what I kind of like to do is almost once you create your track, it's really easy to slide in there. As you can see here, I think I got myself a little superficial. So I'm gonna I put a 3 ml syringe at the back of the thread to kind of hold it in place, and then once I'm ready to advance again, I'll take it back off. Basically what adding that syringe does is it prevents the thread from engaging. So whenever you say you get too superficial or you're too deep and you just need to back up a little bit, just put one of those 3 ml or really any size syringe that will fit on the back of there. I like to use a 3 ml, and then just back up, and that will prevent the thread from kind of engaging. As long as that thread is held in place, it won't engage. So as you can see, I went in and I actually stopped before her nasolabial fold. The reason I did this was because a lot of times people with really nice cheekbones like her, you'll get superficial around the mouth, and that's where you start to run into some complications where you're able to see the end of the thread, or it actually starts poking through the other end. So she was really happy with the lift, but we just wanted to do one more just because, again, I did stop before the deficit. So I just wanted to give her an extra little lift. So then as you can see, I'm kind of tightening them so that I get a really great lift, and then I also help engage the thread. So I'm going to pull each of these almost like do a reverse pull, and then I basically will trim them down. And then hers, I didn't really have trouble releasing, but there are some times where you can see some puckering in the tissue. Just assure your patient that this can be very, very normal and normally resolves by itself. However, if you're still noticing it, a week, 2 weeks out, then what I usually recommend is just having them apply heat. Heat will break down the thread quicker. And usually we wouldn't recommend applying heat if somebody is not having a complication, as they won't get the max amount of lift or collagen stimulation if we are breaking that thread down quicker than the body does. So usually that's kind of where I start to recommend if there is a complication. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can also learn this in our PDO lifting thread courses. Thanks so much.